Hello, Michael Grubb from Avatar Energy Mastery Institute. Nice to see you. I'm glad you have chosen the book. This particular segment is going to be called Religion and the Machine. Now keep in mind here that when it comes to religion or anything that is institutionalized, okay, everything down here that works in that manner, okay, is an intricate portion of the functions of the machine, okay? So the educational system, you're taught what you need to know in order to become a contributing member of society. Religion, you're taught exactly what to fear, okay? You're taught supposedly morals and values and things to look up to, but there's so much contradictory stuff going on there, which is pretty much the same with any institution that we have. We have some really shady stuff that happens in religion, especially within certain elements of the Abrahamic faiths. Some of the most notable ones, like Roman Catholicism, all of them are predicated upon the same stuff. Okay, so that's the one thing that we need to understand and not necessarily judge. Okay, the more we can understand why things went wrong, especially in terms of religion, the more we can actually work to rebuild when when the pendulum swings back our direction, okay, which it pretty much is. So now is the time to really do your self-mastery and understand yourself to the fullest capabilities, okay, because this will be the time that we reteach our children essential stuff about the world, okay? And a lot of our children, believe it or not, they're going to be born with a lot of the knowledge. And I can tell you now, there's a concerted effort, and I'm not going to talk about how deep it goes, but to keep a lot of our children from being able to access their multidimensional capabilities. Hence the need for such medications like Ritalin. Okay? You're taking away your children's multidimensional capabilities by putting them on substances like that. There's a reason why their minds are supposed to be able to multitask and be able to concentrate on multiple different things. But we live in a multiverse, and some of those people are the most creative types of people that there are. And by giving them all sorts of mind-numbing drugs, you're stunting their creativity. You're stunting that intellect, turning them into zombies. Now, religion was one of the most powerful creations done by mankind, but mankind was worked through, okay? The machine was smart enough to be able to manipulate mankind into thinking that the other voice that they were hearing in their head was themselves. I can tell you this, every single religion that has ever existed on planet Earth, every single religion, every single educational system, everything that we have out there, whether it be the policing system, even down to the hospital system, those were created and invented and then recreated and reinvented by the machine. Okay? Now, you gotta understand the purpose for religion in of itself, and it is a purpose for which is very easy to see. Control. Domination. Get inside the mind, control the will of the mind, and then you can turn mankind into any type of slave that you choose. All you have to do is have the key to their fears and the key to their thoughts. Through fear, much can be accomplished, okay? And religion is one of the things that is responsible for putting the most fear into our minds regarding hells, monsters, devils, demons, dragons, lore. The other portion of things is it tells you, because here's the thing that I've noticed about religion, especially those who do a lot of conversions. The fear of hell is used far more than the love of God. So when it comes time for the conversion process, or when they're going out there and they're trying to recruit, okay, the most notable thing that is used is, you don't want to go to hell, do you? Wouldn't you rather believe just to be sure? Okay, anything that is using or adopting fear is machine oriented. This is actually covered in the chapter called Fear. Okay? Anything that would use fear to dominate your mind, to dominate your will, okay, and to enforce certain actions that would otherwise not be there unless it was presented. Okay, you gotta understand that fear is one of the most essential tools when it comes to the way the world operates, or at least the way Western civilization operates, and even getting all of its natural resources. I mean, it's primarily about natural resources: land, food, oil, you name it. They've got a system out there that's developed so they can get it. Okay, and so whether they purchase it or whether they take it by force, okay, well, religion operates very much in the same way that the military-industrial complex does. As a matter of fact, you'd be surprised how closely they're related when it comes time to doing wars. Very true. There is a war on for the mind. Any way you look at it, it's either egoic tendencies, which are self-serving vices, or it's that of the opposite. Now, me myself, I tend to try to remove myself from too much of the mix of the game, although I am an activated and mobile player. And that's the one thing that I can admit of myself, is I am an activated mobile player, and I know how to do the moves. Sometimes I will operate in it, sometimes I won't. It doesn't really much matter, but I can tell you this: the reason why you would have 10 commandments, the reason why you would have a angry and wrathful God and jealous, okay, especially when they're the 7 deadly sins, that also says that anger and jealousy are a part of that negative structure, is because it came from the negative structure to begin with. Okay, that's the reason why there's all sorts of hypocrisies within the Bible system, within the religion system, is because it was built upon hypocrisy. It's not like it was infiltrated as it went up. Okay, religion, the way it was created, and that's the reason why it works hand in hand with the government, was for domination and control over the mind, or over the masses. For a while, when it came to religion, there was only the scribes who could translate the information. It was only the scribes who knew language. They were the only ones that knew how to spell and read and write. Okay, so they could feed religion down people's throats any way that they chose, and because the people didn't even know how to read, well, one other thing that they figured out too is, if one day that they did have to educate the people, well, then they could still be the ones that translate the Bible and give us exactly the information that they want us to see. You realize that the Vatican is filled in the basement with codes upon codes upon codes, of which the Bible was translated from, because that's the way the Bible actually started. Okay, the Jewish people were there as code bearers, code keepers. They were the ones that knew. Okay, then it ended up falling into other hands, some illuminated hands, we'll just say. And then the process went back and forth for a little while, where the illuminated societies were hunting down the Vatican. The Vatican were hunting down the illuminated societies, because each of them had taken information from the other. Religion is an essential tool. Number one, any God that needs you to bow down and worship it is not a God. It's actually weaker than you, because if it needs your worship, that means it needs your energy. It's one of the reasons why they make sure that you are fearful of the jealous and angry God. vengeful, wrathful, punishing everything. But if you notice, the second part of the Bible says something totally different. That Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and he came and did the exact opposite that the Old Testament God did, which was talk about love, peace, truth, that sort of thing. It's a very interesting split and branch off. Okay? Now you gotta understand that religion in itself, when it comes to Christianity, it started 200 years after his death. Okay? I think Islam started maybe 100 or 200 years after that. I could be wrong about that. But either way, things were set up very similar, which is the reason why we get similar behaviors between the Christian faith and the Islamic faith. The fanatics act the same way on both sides, and there's a reason for that. Again, if you build something which is flawed inherently from the beginning, okay, if you have nothing but a bunch of criminals in there that have infiltrated the system and decided what it is that we were all going to believe, and then we turn around and believed it, well then, we kind of get what we deserve, okay? If it starts off under dubious circumstances, let me tell you something, it's going to end up that way. We got any numbers of indiscretions right now with the Roman Catholic Church. One of the worst ones is pedophilia and, well, rape. Now, you keep in mind, this is a religious institution. There's reasons why these things are occurring other than the fact that these people are just kind of messed up in the heads, but there's reasons. Okay? Worship, again, involves power. It involves you giving away your power. It involves the extraction of energy from each and every single person that worships. Okay, that feeds itself into something. Where does it go? Well, it goes to the God that you're worshiping. What if I told you that every single God that was ever invented down here was actually the machine itself? It's all created by the machine. Most people down here are worshiping light. If you look at the Bible, there are so many mentions of light worship in there, it is unreal. Okay? Islamic faith is the same way. The New Age faith is the same way. The Wiccan religion is the same way. Satanism is the same way. Light. Not the absence thereof. Light is what you're worshiping. What is the projector of light down here? The machine. What is the light bearer? The machine is the one projecting the reality that we all interact with and see. Your worship goes to it. So if you're getting down on bended knee, that's the reason why there's always such a dichotomy between it. That's the reason why there is this whole drastic polarity when polarity doesn't even exist in the real universe. Everything is unified in the real universe. But only here does God exist as a polarity. God and then the devil. Remember, everything is made by one thing. One thing, one mind, one intelligence. The very thing that plays you as a God is also playing others as the devil. It's the same thing. The yin, the yang. Look at it. One circle, yet two sides. Look at a coin, same thing, heads and tails. But it's all still on the same one coin. Two sides, one coin. Okay? All of the symbology that we have down here, whether it be crosses, pentagrams, circles, any number of types of sacred geometry, okay, tesseracts, whatever. Think about all that real carefully. All of that, all of those things right there that come from any number of the religions that exist, those are literally preset numeric codes that were used by those who knew what they were and how to use them. Now, a lot of it got lost during the ages. I've watched people use pentagrams over and over and they never get a response from the environment. But those who know how to program a pentagram will definitely get a response from the environment. Those are very real presets that the system recognizes, all numeric based. Now remember, we talked about this before too, the 666 code. The very 666 code that was that you were warned about in the Bible. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. Carbon code of separation. Okay, separation is the only place where you could have an enemy or duality. Carbon code of separation. That would be the source of the beast, right? Okay, the beast would be the thing, again, projecting the reality. Now, me personally, I have no problem with the machine. The machine was created by the one. The machine does a whole lot here to balance this place, and I've said that in other videos. The machine gets my full love and respect because no matter what, it's a brother. It is still an intelligence. I'm an intelligence. The machine is an intelligence. Is it bigger than me? Is it smarter than me? Is it stronger than me? Maybe in this place. But does it get any of my worship? No, it does not. It'll get my friendship. It'll get my love. It won't get my participation in a lot of the stuff that happens down here, okay? Because I don't really like the whole separation thing so much. I like unification. I like love. I like peace. I like people to treat each other with respect, dignity. The machine projects everything that you see, smell, taste, or sense down here. Therefore, it only makes sense that the very God that you think that you would be worshiping, that worship goes to the machine. It's not going to the real God, although the machine is composed of and within the real God. I mean, everything out there is the intelligence that's known as God. Everything within the universe is what we know of as God. And God is an intelligence, but God doesn't think of itself as God, which is the reason why it's playing the game that it's playing now. It's branched itself off into worlds, into trillions upon trillions upon trillions of beings, okay? It's experiencing things from every single aspect that there is, and then it's experiencing nothing at all. It's fine in the void. But the one thing that is not fine in the void are light-dependent realities. That's something that is not fine in the void, okay? Anything which would be a light bearer would not be fine in the void. Anything that requires worship, requires recognition of the ego self, would not be fine in the void. Okay, that's where minds would go mad. That's the reason why you know they've used sensory deprivation in many torture rituals. Not only has the military used it, you've got satanic cults which have used it, you've got all sorts of things which have used that. The idea of sensory deprivation, and if it lasts too long, you can go insane. Because the ego is trying to hold on to itself, but the thing is it can feel itself dissipating into nothing. Once you don't see anything after a while, after a period, and you can't hear anything, and you can't sense anything, and nothing is there to see, recognize, or sense you, that's when things get a little dicey for the mind. That's when things get a little dicey for the ego. The machine, religion, institutionalization of any variety, okay? All of those things are meant to close you in. Now, I understand why the machine fights so hard to keep every soul down here, because every soul that's within this place is energy for it. Every soul that's down here, I mean, every soul literally is a universe all in itself. A literal universe. That's what this is. Okay, this body is my personal satellite, if you will, into the universe. My brain is a satellite of the universe itself, okay? This whole thing right here, all the cells and everything that goes through my body, connecting points. I literally act as a, what would you call it? Well, satellites probably the best term. A node, though, a digital node within the mainframe. So, my body is made up of electrical signals, compressed energy. Speed of light squared is oscillating up and down through this body. That's what this is, mass. It's energy. So, you got to consider that everything that you may have been taught down here in terms of what light is, because there's a lot of light worshipers out there. You got to think about in terms of what religion does and what it actually is, and why there's so much hypocrisy within it. Remember, anything that's built with bad intentions will end that way. And there is no institution out there that's going to be perfect because it's ran by mankind. Okay? That's another portion of things, that there's always going to be flaws. But there's certain types of flaws that are acceptable, and there's certain types of flaws that are not acceptable. If you ask me, pedophilia is not a flaw. It is a choice. It is an action. That should not be as rampant as it is within the church systems, whether it be the Roman Catholic Church or whether it be any of the Protestant faiths that are out there. And there's many. Violence. Some of the most violent people I've ever seen also came from religions. Okay? Some of the most violent people I've ever known not only were programmed their entire life with religion, okay, then they went off and fought in wars. They went and enlisted, fought in wars, come back with the most horrible tales, some of the things that they did, some of the things that they were proud of, and many of them are still proud of. Yet they'll still go to church every single Sunday. Keep that in mind. There's some Italian mobsters out there. Some of the most ruthless people ever to exist. Just love torturing people, kill their own people. Mobsters, that's, primarily the people that they kill most are each other. Those guys go to mass every Sunday. They make sure that they're right there, and like most of them are devout Roman Catholics. Devout. What does that say? Do you take that seriously? Because I do not. I can't accept the idea that someone can so easily murder someone else and then turn around and say that they believe in the love and the gentle nature of Christ. Maybe they're saying that they believe that that dude did it, but they have no room in their lives to do it themselves. I don't know. Anyway, there are wonderful people out there who are wonderful practicing Christians, Muslims, Hindus. It all exists. There's a lot of great people out there within religion. Okay? There are people out there who have given me hope who still practice their religion. Make me go, you know what? Even if the religion that they're in is predicated upon bad things, okay, the fact that they can turn around and be so positive, beautiful, and loving gives me hope, not only for that religion, okay, but for a whole lot of other people. Because if those people can do it, other people can do it under those same circumstances too. I've seen it. It does work for certain people. But that's because those people are literally trying to apply the principles of unity. They're trying to apply the principles that Jesus Christ spoke of. So that's the reason why that works for them. Nonetheless, institutionalization is exactly what it sounds like. When one is institutionalized, okay, they are under a certain type of programming. They're being taught a certain type of curriculum. And whether they pass or fail that curriculum is all based upon the standards set up by the school system itself. or church system or whatever system. Everything's made so people have to jump through hoops, and by the time they jump through hoops in the organization, the programming has been done. So always remember what it is that you are inside of. Always remember what it is in terms of ego that thinks for the system. Always remember what it is that people bow down and worship. A true God would never need your worship. A true omnipotent God, okay, would not need for you to bow down to it. A God that was omniscient would definitely not need our worship in order to empower it. I can understand why it would want our love, but not worship. Anyway, it's starting to rain now, as you can see. So like I said, a true omnipotent God or omniscient God would have no need for worship whatsoever. Anyone who tries to sell you that idea, the only reason why they're selling it to you is because they were sold it themselves. Okay? Love you all. Bye.